Sammy Guevara made some headlines this past week. Last we saw him on Dynamite, he announced that he had quit the Inner Circle and he would not be on TV for a while. We weren't going to be seeing him for a while. But he was scheduled to appear at the last set of Impact Wrestling tapings about 10 days ago, and things did not go as planned. He had an issue with the creative that was presented to him. Per the Observer, he was going to be part of a series of tag team matches. We don't know the specifics of exactly what it was about this whole thing that he didn't like, or maybe it was just the fact that they were tag team matches. But he came back with his own suggestion. He came back with a suggestion about winning the X Division title, which is currently held by TJP. One story is that he would win the title and then take it back to AEW with him, and then instead of losing it, he would be ultimately stripped of it, and it would be put up in a tournament in Impact to crown a new champion. Now, that story doesn't make a lot of sense when I hear that, and if it were true, if I'm Impact, then I'm telling Panda Boy to go kick rocks. And that seemingly is what they did. Whatever the original creative was, Chris Jericho and Don Callis came up with it. They were very upset. They felt Guevara made them look bad by not doing it and being a headache. Now on Observer Live, Brian, and I didn't hear this, again, this was notes pieced together from, I guess, the episode of Observer Live where he mentioned this, but apparently Bryan Alvarez claimed to have a source close to Guevara who gave him Guevara's side of the story. Ah, yes, a source close to Guevara. Yes, we'll call this source Manny Buevara. How about that? We'll say that Manny Buevara spoke to Bryan Alvarez and told him that Impact did indeed want him to be part of a bunch of tag matches, but Sammy didn't think it made sense because the whole point of him leaving the Inner Circle in that storyline on Dynamite was that he wanted to go out on his own. He wasn't going from one faction to teaming up with other people. He said Guevara did pitch the idea of winning the X Division title, but he denies that it involved Sammy not dropping it or taking it to AEW with him. The idea that Impact pitched was that he would lose some of those tag matches, he would get beaten down, eventually win, but then get beaten down again. Alvarez's source said that Sammy then called somebody in AEW, I presume Tony Khan, but I don't know, called somebody in AEW to discuss what was happening, and he made his opinions known about the situation. Impact was said to be very upset by what happened. All appears to be okay now. It's not a big deal. It is not the end of the relationship or anything dramatic like that. But look, when promotions work together like this, things are going to happen. Things like this are going to happen. This will not be the last time, I guarantee you, that we hear about a story like this, whether it's AEW and Impact, AEW and New Japan, Impact and New Japan, who are now working together again. It happens. Impact is not going to blow up their relationship with AEW over a disagreement with one talent who was supposed to appear on a single television taping. You look at their ratings this past week, all of this interpromotional activity, because we've had AEW talent on Impact, we've had New Japan talent now show up this past week on Impact. Impact, it's clearly lifting overall interest in the product. Impact just posted its best numbers in 2 months since the episode where Kenny Omega showed up for the first time after he won the AEW World title. They did 197,000 viewers this past Tuesday, which is up from 153,000 the week before. This was the same show last Tuesday where Juice Robinson and David Finlay showed up from New Japan. They made their debut. Now, look, these are still Impact numbers. They're still pathetically low for a show that has been on the air for over 15 years. Okay, let's not make any excuses for Impact Wrestling. There is no good way to spin it. This company has been around. It has been in existence since 2002. That was the genesis of NWA TNA. The year after WCW and ECW went out of business, 2 promotions sprouted up from the ashes, TNA and Ring of Honor. So this company has been around for a very long time, almost 20 years. This is the same company that at one time did 2 million viewers for their show on Spike TV. They were averaging over 1 million viewers for a while each week. Now they celebrate if they scratch 200,000. But they are up. The numbers are up a little bit. So trust me, this will not lead to any problems. Impact needs AEW a lot more than AEW needs Impact. They're not going to do anything to mess that up. Depending on which side you believe, because obviously there's different sides of the story. There's the Sammy Guevara side, there's the Impact side, and then in the middle, there's the truth. But if Sammy was proposing to win one of their titles and take it to AEW and not lose it, then Impact was right to tell him to go home and get lost. But if not, and let's say Sammy just had some minor concerns about some of the stuff that was presented to him, and it really didn't make a lot of sense for his character, then you know what? There's nothing unreasonable about that. I mean, they are, after all, independent contractors, are they not? Aren't wrestlers independent contractors? Nothing wrong with wanting to protect your character and make sure that things make sense when you just did this big babyface turn the week before on TV. Impact tapes their television a few weeks ahead, so, they, and by they I mean Impact and AEW, what they need to do is do a better job of getting on the same page in the future when they decide at the very last minute like this to send one of their stars onto the other show. Just get on the same page. That'd be a much easier way to avoid these things from happening again in the future. Tony Khan announced the following on Twitter regarding the Women's World Title Eliminator, which is underway, and the winner of this tournament is going to be challenging Hikaru Shida for the Women's Championship March 7th at Revolution. The tournament is underway. Here's what Tony Khan said. The AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament USA semifinal bout. That's a mouthful. Featuring former women's champion Riho against former NWA women's champion Thunder Rosa, streams on Bleacher Report February 28th on a free Sunday special, 1 week before the Revolution pay-per-view. This will be free worldwide for all fans on Bleacher Report, not BR Live. That's a different service. Back on BR Live, though, domestically here in this country, the following week for Revolution. It's huge to get exposure, he says, on Bleacher Report, available to millions of fans worldwide, while also reminding people about Revolution on March 7th, which is a Sunday and not a Saturday. With Bleacher Report's 9.4 million Twitter and 14.8 million Instagram followers, it is a huge opportunity to introduce AEW and our wrestlers to new fans by streaming such a high-stakes bout between two of the best as part of a free Sunday special. So they are running a Sunday special a week from today on the 28th on Bleacher Report to get people primed basically for the pay-per-view the following Sunday, because they usually do not run pay-per-views on Sundays. Revolution got bumped. If you remember, originally Revolution was going to be next weekend. I believe it was going to be next Saturday. It got bumped, and it got bumped from a Saturday to a Sunday. Now, they're not going to begin running pay-per-views every 4 months on a Sunday. I think this is just a one-time thing. And so what they're hoping to do is remind people, they're going to do this event on Bleacher Report and promote the hell out of Revolution, I'm sure, being on a Sunday and not a Saturday. But they're also going to have to remind people that it's going to be on BR Live and not Bleacher Report proper. So it could be confusing for people. I get why they would want to do this free special just to try to get the word out there. I don't see it as a demotion, because already some people are complaining, well, how come this match is not going to be on Dynamite? How are you not doing Riho and Thunder Rosa, which actually should be a very good match? Why are you doing this on Bleacher Report and not doing this on Dynamite? And I'm sure Tony Khan probably expected to get that question or get that criticism. This was his way of trying to head that off and explain exactly why they're doing it this way. That will not be the only match on that free special. It sounds like there's going to be 2 other matches on there as well, including the final of the Japanese side of the bracket. The American bracket final is going to be airing on YouTube Monday, March 1st. And the winners of the American bracket and the Japanese bracket will then wrestle on Dynamite on that big March 3rd episode. That's the same night that Cody and Shaq are going to be on opposing sides of the ring in that tag match, which is either going to be very entertaining or a complete clusterfuck. Either way, I am very anxious to see how that match plays out. The in-ring debut of Jade Cargill teaming with Shaq, who is hardly a veteran of the ring himself. Them being tag team partners could be, it could be a disaster, or like I said, if they, depending on how they book this match out, I would hope it doesn't go terribly long. It could go either way. It could definitely go either way. But as far as my predictions for this tournament, and the winner, by the way, as I said, is going to challenge Shida at Revolution. I think Riho beats Thunder Rosa next Sunday. I think she beats Thunder Rosa. I think Britt Baker, who is also in this tournament, advances and beats Riho. And then Britt Baker goes on to win the entire thing. I'll say that she beats either Yuka Sakazaki or Emi Sakura. One of those two will advance, I think, to the final and win the Japanese bracket. So whichever one, I'm going to say probably Sakazaki. But Baker's going to win the whole thing. She's going to go to Revolution. And then she's going to beat Shida to win the Women's Championship. They will come back around to Baker and Thunder Rosa. That issue is not over. But Thunder Rosa doesn't have to win the title for a while. That's not something that has to happen right now. And I don't see another babyface or another fan favorite being the one to take the title from Shida. I think it's going to be a heel, and I think it's going to be Britt Baker.